seen below the ocean. It's getting warmer outside, and you might want to think about a vacation.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Well, make sure you pay attention during today's 2 Wants to Know. Money man Matt Granite has some travel tips that could help save you money and even get some money back.
We like Matt. Don't miss it. 2 Wants to Know starts now.
You've seen the show, CSI, Criminal Minds, and the like. In 1 hour, the crime happens. They collect the evidence, they run it through the test, they solve the crime. It is so easy. We know it doesn't really work like that. In North Carolina's case, not only does it not move that fast, it moves so slow, it is costing court cases. Just last month, Durham County prosecutors dropped a murder charge against 21-year-old Brandon Townsend. He is charged in a drive-by shooting of a 13-year-old girl 3 years ago. Part of the reason for the dismissal? Well, the state crime lab hadn't completed DNA testing after 3 years. So he is out on the streets, and other defense attorneys say the lag is impacting how long their clients sit in jail. What is the holdup here? The state crime lab director says it's pretty simple. He needs more people. And we want to give you this story. Amanda Lamb with our sister station WRAL kind of looks deeper into this.
It seems like there's a pattern of difficulty getting test results back from the State Bureau of Investigation.
We are doing our very best with what we have.
Joseph John, the state's crime lab director, admits there are delays in processing DNA tests. He says primarily due to lack of manpower.
There is no one, that being the case, in the state of North Carolina any more frustrated about the delay caused by our insufficient resources than I as the laboratory director.
Last year, John's DNA staff worked more than 4,500 hours of overtime to try and keep up with the nearly 3,300 cases requiring DNA testing. He has 24 forensic biologists and says he needs at least 21 more.
We need more people, and secondly, we need to be able to pay those people a salary which will keep them here at the state crime lab.
I mean, if they are serious about trying to get to the truth in criminal cases, if they want the judicial system to work, they need to fund it.
Well, for the past 2 years, the General Assembly has denied the crime lab's request for additional funding to hire more forensic biologists. But the lab director will ask again in the upcoming session. He's asking for $860,000 a year. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on the process and letting you know how it turns out. It is, of course, all about the numbers on election night, but the numbers on the State Board of Elections website for primary election results weren't quite right on Tuesday. Some counties showed votes were counted, but 0 precincts or 0% of the precincts were reporting. How can that be? The short answer there is a software issue. Last night, News 2's Frank Mickens found out that the software is brand new. We've got more information. It was created by State Board of Election workers just this past fall. WRAL confirms the software used before this year was created by a company called SOE. The state has had contracts with SOE since 2007. The state has paid them nearly $7 million for a results system and other election-related services. But when the company failed to deliver on a campaign finance product that cost $1 million in advance to the state, well, the state let the contract with SEO expire and went back to this in-house system. They last used an in-house system made by state workers back in 2007 to report results. A state spokesperson says elections officials will review this new system before it is used again for runoff or general elections. Well, the primary may be over, but in November, voters in Winston-Salem will be voting on a $175 million bond proposal. And that proposal includes money for the police and the fire departments to decentralize their departments, which means district offices in 3 more areas of the city will be sectioned out so that response times to 911 calls can be a whole lot faster. Well, that kind of made us want to know what the response times were right now, not just for Winston-Salem, but Greensboro as well. Here are the numbers. In 2013, Winston-Salem police responded to 8,786 calls that they consider emergency prioritized calls. And that means they have a significant threat of imminent injury. The average response time was just under 4 minutes. Greensboro Police covers about the same size geographic area. They responded to about 12,000 priority calls in 2013. Their calls include calls of serious injury or death and calls with probable serious injuries. The average response time was just under 7 minutes. Forbes magazine reports that the national average response time for police to emergency calls is about 11 minutes. But as you can see, not all emergency numbers are collected the same way. You also have to factor in rural versus urban areas, traffic, weather, and you adding to the response times. Okay, let's talk about that. How do you add to the response times? Let me take you for a drive here. This is a typical neighborhood in Greensboro. For police or fire teams looking for your house number, would they be able to see it as they drove down the street? It's hard to find some of the numbers on these houses. Some are too small, some are hidden by trees or leaves like you see here. And keep in mind, this is daytime. Think about how much more difficult it would be to find your house at night. A while back, we talked with the Guilford County paramedic about where his crews look so that you'll know the best place to put your house number on your property.
Yeah, the lamppost is not a normal place that we look. Certainly it's a okay place to put one, but certainly having it either on the house or mailbox is much more helpful. We're going to be looking there first.
Most counties have cities or ordinances about how big the numbers have to be on your house. Usually it's around 4 inches high, which is about the same size as my iPhone. And yes, you can get a fine for not having your number visible, but really the bigger concern is making sure that the first responders can get to you. All right, I want to see if you can guess the item in your house that I'm talking about. Peeps in the newsroom, I want you to pay attention and see if you can guess as well. It needs to be checked every year, this household item. It costs less than 50 bucks, and it's probably in a kitchen cabinet, and I'm willing to bet you have never used this household item. What is it?
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher. Okay, first guess is right. I am talking about your fire extinguisher. Do you even know where it is? I asked a few of my coworkers to send in their pictures. Most of their fire extinguishers were in a place they could get to easy enough, but this one right here, let me show you. Oh, yeah. Look at that. It's in the back of the cabinet behind glass pitchers and bowls and all kinds of other stuff. And it also happens to be right next to the stove. So if the stove was on fire, you'd have some issues. Send us your fire extinguisher pictures. You can tweet them or email them. You can tweet them to WTK, or you can email them to 2WTK@WFMY.com. We'll be talking about how to recharge those fire extinguishers and the cost of recharging Friday on 2 Wants to Know. It is a new 2 Wants to Know record. This year's 2 Wants to Know Shred-a-thon faced some natural and human barriers. Mother Nature delayed the second day of the shred. Then so many people showed up that we filled up both trucks in Greensboro. We didn't want anyone who came out to not have their stuff shredded, so we locked up their documents in a Penske truck, drove it back to the station just to make sure that it was behind our gated fence. The shred truck came here just yesterday and safely shredded the rest of the documents. So, how many documents total? Drum roll, please. All right, we shredded more than 21,000 pounds at last week's event in Burlington. Monday crews shredded 29,000 pounds in Greensboro at the mall, and the documents that we brought back here, 7,000 more pounds. So we've got a grand total of 57,320 pounds. That equals out to 28 tons. And so to put it in perspective, yeah, it's 14 elephants and more than double last year's 2-day total. We know the shred is a much needed community service, and 2 Wants to Know's goal is to keep helping the communities that we serve. Of course, you can't put a price on a child's life, but what if we can protect your child and save you 50 bucks at the same time? Starting today, WFMY News 2 is partnering with the Bryan YMCA for our Swim to Live program. It is a special program for first-time swimmers only, and it starts next week. The swim lessons are free, but the space is limited. As of this morning, there is space now only for 3 to 5-year-olds. You must register in person at the Bryan YMCA, and once the classes are full, they are full. Since 2008, Swim to Live has provided more than 500 swimming lessons to kids free of charge. And it is a free program, and it is fun, but swim lessons, they are serious business. The CDC says every day about 10 people die from accidental drowning, and of these, 2 are children, 14 or younger. Most children's deaths happen in home swimming pools. And even if the child nearly drowns but survives, there can be serious consequences as well. A look at those numbers in 60 seconds. For every child drowning death, another 5 are treated for submersion injuries that include brain damage and long-term disabilities. After weeks of wild weather, it is about to get hot. In fact, Thursday and Friday are supposed to get really close to 90.
Really close, yeah.
All right, and so Chief Meteorologist Grant Gilmore, you're going to give us kind of like the 90s by the number.
Yeah, you know, looking at some numbers, it's always fun to kind of put everything into perspective.
It is
At least,
not
I
90
think.
today.
No, it's not. So, but still warmer than normal. I mean, 78 degrees. Look at the numbers across the area today. 78 in Greensboro, 79 degrees in Winston-Salem. We saw 80 degrees in Reedsville today. So, I mean, not as warm today as it will be tomorrow, but certainly above normal. Again, the normal high temperature is 75 degrees, so above that. Let's talk about these numbers for 90-degree temperatures. How about this? 269. That's how many days it's been since our last 90-degree day. That was back on August 12th of last year. Another number for you, 37. That's the average number of 90-degree days that we see here in the Triad in any given year. Another number for you, how about this? 82. That's the most number of 90-degree days that we've seen here in the Triad. That was back in the sweltering year of 1914. I remember it well. No, I don't. 4. That is the least number of 90-degree days that we've seen. Actually, believe it or not, that was last year. You probably do believe it. Just remember all the rain that we had last year. Not a warm year last year. And the last digit for you, not quite a number, but March 17th. That is the earliest 90-degree day that we've ever seen here in the Triad. That was back in 1945. So as we get up around 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon, it will not be the earliest that we've ever seen 90 here in the Triad, Tanya.
Well, after the weather that we've had and the winter that we've had, it just feels, I don't know, extra hot, doesn't it?
You love hot weather.
I do like hot weather. All right. We're going to get you caught up on the headlines of the day. Julie Luck and Frank Mickens keeping us up to date on all of that.
Yeah, so we just talked about Swim to Live.
We did.
Swim to Live is huge.
It
a lot of people
is.
want to
It's
get
a
in there.
fantastic
It's a
event.
phenomenal opportunity to get free
Yes.
swim lessons, and that's why registration is full now. It
Full.
didn't take very long.
Like that.
So,
Okay.
the Bryan YMCA, they might take your phone call, but if you show up right now, all the spots are full.
Okay,
We'll
good
do
to
it
know.
again in the future.
But that's a good thing.
Yes,
Keep
that is a
kids
good
safe.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, more than 200 Nigerian schoolgirls have been missing since they were kidnapped on April 15th. An Islamic extremist group took the girls, says it will sell them into slavery. Now the Nigerian government's asking the public for help. The U.S. is preparing to deploy specialists to help Nigeria in their search. This extremist group is fighting to install an Islamic state in Nigeria. It's estimated they have killed 1,500 people in their attack so far this year.
Well, revenue at many U.S. air carriers is soaring. The government says U.S. air carriers made nearly $13 billion in net profits last year, but flyers are paying for it in baggage fees and fewer flights. In fact, baggage fees alone brought in more than $3 billion in 2013. Air carriers may be making money now, but many are still paying off billions in debt after years of losses and skyrocketing fuel prices.
Drivers, listen up. Postal inspectors say scam artists are looking to rip off insurance companies and making you their target and your car too. Listen to what happened to one woman to make sure that it does not happen to you.
Make money by having an actual job instead of going around scamming innocent people.
The victim is still angry after she got tangled in an insurance scam by simply being at an intersection.
I was stopped at a stop sign, and a car was going to turn left in front of me. So she waved me on. As I was turning, she hit the back of my car.
As soon as it happened, the victim approached the other car.
I asked if everyone was okay, and they all had a different ailment. It's my neck, my knee, my eye. They were all wearing seatbelts. So I knew that I had been scammed right away.
Immediately, she grabbed her cell phone.
I started taking pictures with my cell phone, and that seemed to upset them greatly. They didn't want me taking pictures of their car or anyone in the car because I knew they weren't telling me the truth. There was no way they could have injured themselves in the way they were describing just by a little bump to my car.
Postal inspectors say the victim was one of 80 targeted by this group alone. Total losses, $130,000. $100,000.
All of a sudden, they're in this car accident and they have no idea how they got there because they were being waved on.
Another version of the scam occurs in parking lots when the victim is backing out of a spot.
The suspect car would stop and wave them out of the parking spot, and they would start going out of the parking spot, and then the suspect car would drive as fast as they could and hit the other vehicle.
Inspectors got a lucky break.
On her case, we actually happened to get the black box from the vehicle that the suspect was driving, and it shows them going from a dead stop at 0 miles per hour to 30 in 2 seconds, basically, in order to hit her car.
I always try to give people benefit of the doubt, and I am trusting by nature, but it has hardened me to not really believe everything that someone says or does.
You can always protect yourself by taking photos and video after an accident. Make sure you show exactly who was there, how they appeared after the accident. Your phone is a great evidence gatherer. Well, looking for a great summer vacation deal? Look no further, because Money Man Matt Granite has some sites that can help you find great deals coming up.
Here in the Weather Garden, it is absolutely beautiful. Temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. High Point reporting 83 degrees right now. Winston at 79 degrees. Greensboro 78. Burlington a little cooler, 73 degrees, and Asheboro at 79. All of which is under a mostly sunny sky. Frontal boundary dropped to the south today, allowing for some cooler air to descend into the Triad today. Notice areas to the south, like Frank Macon said in the 5 o'clock newscast, Columbia, South Carolina, the hottest place in the world. At least today, one of the hotter places in the country. 93 degrees now in Columbia, South Carolina. So we've got a mostly sunny sky across the area. This frontal boundary will lift to the north and east as we head through the next 24 hours, allowing for more heat to spread into the eastern half of the United States. So we'll start the day tomorrow near 60 degrees. We will warm it up to near 90. That would make it the warmest day of the year and the first 90-degree day of the year so far. And we'll try to do it again on Friday as well. Probably seeing a little more cloud cover developing into Friday, so we may not reach that 90-degree mark. And then afternoon showers will eventually move in as we go into the weekend. For tonight, looking pretty good. Low temperatures near 60 degrees, mostly clear conditions. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to give it a try. 90 degrees, mostly sunny conditions, west winds from 5 to 15. Here's a quick look at the 7-day forecast. Just a 30% chance of afternoon showers and storms from Saturday onward into the first half of next week. Tanya?
It is going to feel like summer for sure. I've got a little staycation going on here in the Weather Garden, but if you actually want to go someplace exotic, well, Money Man Matt Granite has your beach and hotel values.
Right now, we put an end to all of the uncertainty surrounding travel. All the time, I'm confronted with so-called travel experts. They're online, they're on TV, they're across the country, and they're telling you if you want to save money on a flight, you need to book the first Tuesday, the 3rd hour, the 5th night, 6 weeks. Give me a break. At the end of the day, half the time they're wrong, and when you need to book a flight, you need to book a flight. So before we get to today's travel deals, I have an app that takes the worry out of whether or not you got the best airfare. Take a look. Very simple premise. Prices drop, you get an alert, you save. The app will get you cash back if a flight drops after you book. It doesn't matter what website you book your flight through. I have the link to instant refunds if prices drop on our website right now. You'll also find with that today my picks for the best hotel rates across the country for Memorial Day and beyond. The lowest rates I've seen since March. On average, about $59 for every major city, and car rental coupon search engines. Again, something we shouldn't need to worry about. An app that compares all the car rentals side by side, finds the lowest, and works in a coupon. Every link you need, WFMYnews2.com. Back to you.
I love it. Airfare, rentals, and the hotels, too. All right, like Matt said, he's already posted the deals on WFMYnews2.com. Check him out and get ready to save on your summer escape. Take a trip to North Carolina's coast and you're bound to see some history. A pirate ship, Wright Brothers landmarks, lighthouses. But some of those pieces of history may be disappearing. Julie, let's talk about it.
Certainly threatened. A circle of stones surround the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse that dates back to the 1800s. The lighthouse was cut from its foundation 15 years ago to protect it from the encroaching ocean. Now that same force of nature is threatening to take over another monument. We'll tell you the unique plan to protect them tonight on WFMY News 2 at 6.
Well, feel like you need a travel agent but don't want to spend the money on that? We have a free site that can help. We're going to tell you about it in 60 seconds. Make sure you stick around because we have a couple of requests for you at the end of this newscast. We'll be right back. Tripology is a division of USA Today Travel. Share your vacation idea. They connect you with 3 agents who specialize in that kind of trip. You choose and you book. Don't forget, there are a couple of things that we want you to remember to do. Do you know where your fire extinguisher is? We want you to find it. Take a picture of it. This one's been underneath somebody's cabinet for a really long time. You can email that picture to us at 2WTK@WFMY.com or tweet it to us at 2WTK. And also, Grant needs you to send in your weather questions. He's answered everything from how many sunny days we've seen to the science between snow, 10 days after winter thunder. But we know you got more questions, so send them in. Tweet them to Grant_Gilmore. Post them on Facebook, or you can email them to ggilmore@WFMY.com. Thanks for joining us for 2 Wants to Know at 5:30. WFMY News 2 at 6 starts now.